Wake up. Look around the room you are sitting in right now. Look at your phone. Look at the shoes by the door. Look at the news channel playing on your screen. You think you have choices. You think you decide whether to buy an iPhone or an Android, whether to drink Coke or Pepsi, whether to fly Delta or United. You are wrong. You don't have choices. You have the illusion of choice. Because behind almost every major brand, every bank, every news station, and even the pharmaceutical company making the pills in your cabinet, there is one name. It is a name that operates in the shadows, quietly pulling the strings of the global economy. They are not a bank. They are not a government. Yet they possess more power than the Federal Reserve and more money than the GDP of Germany and Japan combined. They are the permanent government. They are the architects of the modern world. Their name is BlackRock, and whether you know it or not, they own a piece of you. Today, we are going to expose the $10 trillion giant that turned the free market into a monopoly game where one player holds all the cards. To understand the scale of this beast, we have to look at the numbers. But numbers like $10 trillion are too big for the human brain to comprehend, so let's visualize it. If you took every single dollar generated by the entire country of Germany in a year and added the entire economy of the United Kingdom, BlackRock manages more money than that. They are the single largest asset manager in human history. But it's not just about the cash pile, it's about where that cash is sitting. Go to the stock market, pick a company, any company. Apple? BlackRock is a top shareholder. Microsoft? BlackRock again. Amazon, Facebook, Google? BlackRock, BlackRock, BlackRock. But surely industries compete, right? Coke hates Pepsi. Exxon hates Chevron. Not really, because BlackRock owns huge chunks of both. Why would they want a price war between two companies when they own the profits of both? This is called common ownership. It kills competition. It keeps prices high for you and profits high for them. They own the media companies that tell you the news. They own the defense contractors making weapons for wars. They own the pharmaceutical giants selling you the vaccines. They are everywhere, yet they are nowhere. They are the ghost in the machine of capitalism. Now, you might be thinking, how can one company manage $10 trillion? How can a group of guys in suits on Wall Street keep track of the entire world? The answer is, they don't. A computer does. This is the scariest part of the story. In a heavily guarded data center in Wenatchee, Washington, sits a supercomputer system known as Aladdin. It stands for Asset, Liability, Debt, and Derivative Investment Network. Aladdin isn't just a calculator, it is the central nervous system of the global economy. It monitors every trade, every risk, and every market movement in real time. It performs millions of Monte Carlo simulations every day, basically predicting the future by simulating every possible disaster, from a stock market crash to a global pandemic. But here is the kicker. BlackRock doesn't just use Aladdin for themselves, they rent it out. Major banks, insurance companies, and even other huge asset managers like Vanguard and State Street use Aladdin to manage their money. This means that one software owned by one company is effectively guiding the decisions for over $20 trillion of global assets. If Aladdin sneezes, the world economy catches a cold. It is a technological monopoly on financial truth.
If you have money, you have power. But if you have BlackRock's money, you have the government on speed dial. Let's go back to 2008. The financial world is collapsing. Wall Street is burning. The U.S. government is panicking. Who do they call to put out the fire? Do they call the smartest economists at Harvard? No. They call Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock. The Federal Reserve hired BlackRock to manage the toxic assets of Bear Stearns and AIG. Why? Because the government admitted they didn't have the tools or the data to handle it. Only BlackRock did. Fast forward to 2020, the pandemic hits, the markets crash again. Who does the Fed call to manage its corporate bond buying program? BlackRock. Think about that. The United States government, the most powerful entity on Earth, outsourced its financial rescue missions to a private company. BlackRock has become the fourth branch of government. They are the only ones in the room when the decisions that affect your job, your savings, and your future are made. They aren't elected. You didn't vote for Larry Fink, but he has more control over your wallet than the President of the United States. So what does BlackRock do with all this power? Do they just sit back and count their money? No, they want to change the world in their image. This brings us to the most controversial three letters in modern business, ESG, environmental, social, and governance. Because BlackRock owns so much stock in every major company, they get to vote on how those companies are run. Larry Fink writes an annual letter to CEOs, and it's basically a royal decree. He tells companies, you must lower your carbon footprint, you must hire based on diversity quotas, you must follow our social guidelines. If a CEO refuses, BlackRock can vote to fire them. They can dump the stock, causing the company's value to crash. Critics call this woke capitalism. They say BlackRock is forcing a political agenda on the world without passing a single law. Whether you agree with their goals or not, the terrifying reality is the method. It is a form of soft compulsion. They are forcing companies to dance to their tune, and ultimately the cost of that dance is passed on to you, the consumer. BlackRock started in 1988 in a single room with 8 people. Today, they are an empire that the sun never sets on. They own the roof over your head, the bank where you save, the fuel in your car, and the algorithm that predicts your future. They are the shadow bank. They operate in a regulatory gray zone, too big to fail and too powerful to control. So does BlackRock own the world? Technically, no. They just manage it. But when you hold the leash to $10 trillion, the difference between managing and owning starts to look very, very small. The next time you hear about a free market, remember the giant in the room, remember Aladdin, and remember that in the casino of the global economy, the house always wins. And right now, BlackRock is the house. If you want to know how to protect your own money from the giants playing games with it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are digging into the stories Wall Street doesn't want you to hear. Thanks for watching.